Did you know that you can create animated full-page transitions using just a few lines of CSS? Do you know how to use container queries and how to easily show baseline status on your demos or blog posts? Find out all of this and more in the next few minutes. This episode is sponsored by Cloudways. More on this fantastic developer-friendly hosting solution in a bit. First up, we have Umar Hansa explaining how to create cross-document animations using View Transitions API. Animated transitions between different pages not only look great, but also offer a few other benefits like improved perceived performance, improved user experience, and they are essentially a good alternative to single-page apps. At the core, it is really simple to set this up. All you need is this in your CSS. Just to demonstrate how easy it is, I will enable this on my personal blog, zoranjambor.com. I'll open it right here. I've opened developer tools. To test this out on a live website, you need to enable local overrides. Otherwise, once you reload the page, which is essentially what happens if you click a certain link, the CSS with your view transition definition will disappear and view transitions won't work. So I'll really quickly enable it here. I will go into Sources panel, into Overrides tab, and I'll select a folder for overrides. This is going to be all right. I will click Allow here, and I'm pretty much ready to go. My changes in CSS will now be persistent as I'm clicking around the site. I already have variables SCSS file open here. I cannot add anything here because this is just a source map. I will need to go to the source, and I can find the source if I look right here from, in my case, style CSS. I will click it, and here, right at the top, I will paste the code that I copied, view transition and navigation set to auto. Let's try it out. As I'm clicking different links, pages are being faded out and faded in. So essentially, one CSS rule at view transition with navigation set to auto enables you to have beautiful, stylish transitions between different pages. Let's copy another segment of the code and see exactly how we can customize it. I will use transition example from here. Copy this, and I will paste this in my CSS. Let's save it. Let's try it out. So now we have a slide in or slide out animation. I don't really like how this looks. It doesn't work well for my particular example with the code on my side. So let's tweak it a bit. First, to make this code look a little bit nicer, I want to remove those transform properties, and I'm going to switch to individual transform properties instead. I can just use translate in my code like this. I'm going to need the Y coordinate as well. I'll just set it to 0. I will also animate opacity here. I don't want to just transition this, but I also want this to fade out and then fade in. I'll set opacity to 0. And now for slide out, it's going to start from 1 and go to 0. And for slide in, it's going to start from 0 and it will go to 1. I also want to tweak my translate values. I don't want this to go all the way to 100%. Something like 50% is going to be enough. I'm also going to change slide in value to negative 70% because I want the site to go away and then come back again. You'll see immediately how this looks. And to make this even better, I will add a delay to the animation on transition in. Transition alt is going to be when this site goes out, and transition new will be when a new site, new page comes in. And this is where I want to delay this because I want this page to slide and fade out of the screen, and only then I want new page to come in. Delay is going to be 150 milliseconds. Another thing that I need to mention, view transitions in this example on Uma's article are set to main element. Of course, I have a main element on my page as well. This is this white box that you see right here that contains all content except for navigation. That's why this is going to work. If you don't have the main element, you will need to, of course, change this selector here. In any case, if we test this out now, you'll see that this works really well. With just a few lines of CSS, I've turned my multi-page website into something that looks and behaves sort of like a single-page app. That's really impressive. And what's even more impressive is that browser support for this is very good. Cross-document view transitions are supported in Chrome, Edge, and Safari Technology Preview. And the best thing is, as you probably already noticed, that you can use this safely today as progressive enhancement. If the browser doesn't support view transitions, then the code we've added here is essentially going to be non-existent, which means that the website will be working as it was working before as a multi-page website. And if the browser supports view transitions, this will essentially look like a single page app. Of course, there's much more nuance to view transitions and cross-document view transitions, so make sure to read this article. This week's sponsor is Cloudways. Cloudways will empower you with everything you need to build, scale, and secure your websites and projects effortlessly. Cloudways is more than just a hosting provider. It provides a number of solutions that you as a developer will find incredibly useful. You can deploy any PHP framework or CMS with just a few clicks. Cloudways pricing plans are more than affordable, and right now they are running a Black Friday Cyber Monday deal where you can get 40% off for first 4 months and up to 40 free migrations. So you don't even have to deal with migrating all your side projects to Cloudways. They will do this for you if you jump on this deal right now, because it's only valid until December 5th. Thanks so much to Cloudways for sponsoring. Next, we have a friendly introduction to container queries by Joshua Komau. Container queries are in the baseline and they have been supported by all major browsers for almost 2 years. And yet, it seems that most developers are still not using them. If you want to learn how container queries work, or if you just want to solidify your knowledge around them, this is the article that you should read. As almost all Joshua's articles, this one is interactive, which means that you will be able to play around with widgets like this one, which will help you understand better how container queries work. Joshua not only explains how container queries work, but also why it has taken so long for browsers to actually implement container queries. And as you'll find out if you read the article, which you absolutely should, the Containment API was released a few years ago, which enabled developers to work around a major problem they had with container queries. And in this article, you'll find out exactly what that problem was, and you'll even see exactly how it works on a very nice demonstration. I won't tell you more. Read the article, read all Joshua's articles. You certainly won't be sorry. And speaking of container queries, please let me know in the comments if you already tried them out. Even if you didn't use them in a live project, just in a demo, if you played around with it, please let me know. I would really like to know how many of you actually do know how to use container queries. And of course, if you want me to create a guide on container queries, you could convince me to do that. Just let me know in the comments. Next, we have Rachel Andrew introducing Baseline Status Web Component, which will help you show baseline status on your blog posts, demos, and more. One of the challenges of writing technical articles is showing up-to-date browser support for the features that you mentioned. Essentially, you want your readers to know if the feature that you're talking about is in the baseline or not. Can it be safely used today in real-life projects, or do you have to use it as progressive enhancement, or perhaps even delay using it until all major browsers support it? And this component will help you do exactly that. It's really easy to set this up. You can use npm install to install this component and directly add it into your project. I will open the instructions here. I will scroll down to usage section, and here you'll see 2 options: install and bundle this with your application, which you should do if you have your own blog where you're writing technical articles. Or the second option is precompiled from CDN. This is of course not optimal from performance perspective, but it is a nice option if you want to test this out. And this is exactly what we will do here. I will copy this and I will open my CodePen demo. In this demo, I'm using details and summary elements, and they are animated using pure CSS. The feature that I'm showcasing here specifically is calc size function, or interpolate size property. And as you can see in the really ugly note here, it requires Chrome Canary with experimental web platform features flag enabled. Well, this is no longer the case. This is now supported in Chrome Stable. So I would have to update this manually, but instead, if I can use baseline status component, I can remove this and users will see up-to-date browser supported data. Let's try it out. I will comment out this paragraph here with a note, and I will paste in the script from CDN. Baseline status component is going to be right underneath. Exactly what I wanted. The feature that I want to showcase here is calc size function. And if I want to find the feature ID, I can open web features repository. And here, if I search for the feature that I want, I'll see exactly what the ID that I'm looking for is. Calc size. As you probably expected, this is calc minus size. Most of the time, you won't have to search for the feature ID. You'll be pretty clear what the feature ID is. It's based on the feature that you want to showcase here. But if you ever don't find it immediately, if you can't figure out what the ID is, then you can find it in web features repository. All right, I'll replace this with calc size. The component is working, but it's not really styled as it should be. So I will tweak the CSS a little bit. I'll use baseline status selector for this. I will add baseline status selector at the bottom. I will copy max inline size from my details element and background image as well, because I want this to look similar to this. All right, let's paste this in. And margin inline here should be set to auto. It seems that I have to adjust maximum inline size here to 39 RAM units. And yeah, this is looking pretty much okay. So I can see immediately here that this feature that I'm using in this demo, calc size, is supported in Chrome, Edge, but not in Firefox or Safari. It's not yet ready for production, and I can very easily showcase this with this fantastic web component. If you're writing technical articles, then this is what you should be using to show always up-to-date browser compatibility data, or specifically the baseline status for the features that you're talking about. Next, we have a fantastic online easing wizard created by Matthias Martin. This will help you create easing functions for your animations and transitions that will look much better than default ones. You have a number of fantastic presets here. You can tweak those however you like, of course. You can filter different types of easing functions right here. Once you find the easing function that you want, I like this one, you can very easily copy the CSS from here. Or if you're working with Tailwind, well, you can get Tailwind code as well. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but this tool is already showcasing the new CSS purple logo. I've talked about it in the previous episode of Frontend News, and essentially a week later, you can already see how it looks in the wild. In any case, if you're working with transitions or animations, and we did talk about view transitions earlier, so if you want those page transitions to be really smooth and really interesting, well, check out the Easing Wizard tool and find exactly the animation that you want. Lastly, we have a nice demo by Amit Gaste. This is, of course, a pure CSS demo where the waves are contained within the letters of this text and it looks really good and it's actually quite simple to set up. All you need is an element that will be animated and a background clip property to contain it within the letters of the text. I will comment out background clip here so you can see what happens. So this is the animation that we have. And this animation is done on the before and after pseudo elements. And I'll actually also need to comment out overflow clip here. And once I do this, I will comment out mix blend mode multiply. And this will show you exactly what we're dealing with here. So these are essentially two rectangles with curved borders and their animations are a little bit delayed. The animation is set to infinite and the second pseudo element after is delayed by 4 seconds and it has a little bit changed animation duration. And this creates a really interesting effect that looks organic and very eye-catching. So if you want to create an effect like this one, all you need is mix blend mode to mix the colors with the color of the text. And then of course you need to set the overflow to clip and background clip to text. This is a really nice demo by Amit Gaste that clearly showcases how powerful can CSS be if you use it creatively. Thank you so much for your attention. My name is Zoran Jambor. I will see and hear you in a different view transition, or rather in the next video, and specifically in this one.